and gentlemen, you're watching India Tonight with me, Samita Kareer, and my colleague Shibani Gharat. And in a major boost to India's push for self-reliance in aviation, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, or HAL, is making a strong comeback to the civilian aircraft manufacturing sector. This is nearly after 4 decades. So the spotlight is on the SJ-100 regional jet, which is a twin-engine, 100-seater aircraft developed in partnership with Russia's United Aircraft Corporation, following an MOU which was signed in October 2025. Now, HAL has secured manufacturing rights for the SJ-100 in India, and that really marks the first full-scale production of a complete passenger aircraft here since the Avro HS-748 program, which ended in 1988. So this is a significant development that's coming as far as HAL's diversification and expansion is concerned, Shivani.
So the SJ-100 made its formal debut today at Wings India 2026, Asia's premier civil aviation event, underway at Begumpet Airport in Hyderabad. From January 28 to 31st, HAL is showcasing it alongside the Dhruv new generation helicopter and other platforms, highlighting its role in enhancing regional connectivity under schemes like UDAN and supporting Make in India goals. HAL also aims to begin domestic production in the coming years, with plans to initially lease aircraft from Russia to Indian operators. Experts see this as a potential game changer for short-haul routes, with India projected to need over 200 such regional jets in the next decade. This collaboration signals a new chapter in India's aviation story, blending global partnerships with homegrown manufacturing ambition. HAL is in focus today as the company announces its civil entry in the civil space. My colleague Samir also joins in with more details on this. Samir?
Yeah, SJ-100 is our foray into the big commuter segment of aircraft. HAL as a strategy has been pursuing that we need to diversify and have a bigger share of civil in our portfolio. Okay. We are almost 97% military. So now that's why over the last few years we have building up our portfolio of civil aircraft. And we have the Hindustan 228 as you are seeing there, which is certified for civil. We have already delivered 2 of them to Guyana, and we have recently signed a contract for 2 more. Okay. So our presence in South America will increase with that. Okay. The Dhruv NG is right now under DGCS certification. Okay. And we expect our first customer, today we will be signing the contract with Pawan Hans Limited. We'll be delivering 10 helicopters to them, the Dhruv NG. Okay. They will be operating it for ONGC for the offshore platforms, transfer of people and men and material. So that is our second play on the helicopter front. And of course, this is our biggest play in the future, where we will bring a commuter aircraft, we will manufacture it. We have the capability to manufacture these aircraft, and we have tied up with UAC. And we will produce this this aircraft under license. We will be doing initial SKD, CKD manufacture, and later we will be doing the whole manufacture within the country. So we expect in about 3 years, we will be able to roll out the aircraft.
All right, so that's my colleague Samir Dikshit. He's in conversation with the management of HAL, because the spotlight, ladies and gentlemen, like I stated just a short while back, is on the SJ-100 regional jet. This is a twin-engine, 100-seater aircraft, which has been developed in partnership with Russia's United Aircraft Corporation. In fact, this after an MOU was signed between both the sides in October 2025, and HAL has secured the manufacturing rights for the SJ-100 in India, and that really marks first full-scale production of a complete passenger aircraft right here in India. Now, this is coming in as the government has often stated that we want to manufacture in India, not just in segments that are related to consumption, but also in sectors that is related to defense. And ladies and gentlemen, this focus on defense has especially come after Operation Sindoor, and of course, we've realized that we need to build our own defense mechanisms. We need to build our own defense equipment and systems as well. So this is definitely a shot in the arm as far as that plan of the government is concerned. HAL is planning expansion now into the civil aviation space. But what is important to note as far as the SJ-100 is concerned, which actually made its debut today at Wings India 2026. Now, this is important from the point of view of the fact that this is going to be a consumer aircraft, and this is going to be for short haul flights, which essentially means that this is going to focus on tier 2 and 3 towns and cities. This is pretty much in line with the government's plan as far as the UDAN scheme is concerned, and of course to connect tier 2 and 3 towns and cities to airplane connectivity. So, which is why this is in focus, and regional connectivity is going to be in focus once again, and that is going to support the Make in India goals that the government has. Now, HAL, it plans to begin domestic production in coming years, and it plans to initially lease aircraft from Russia to Indian operators. This also marks a significant chapter as far as Russia and India defense partnership is concerned. In fact, President Putin was here in India just last December 2025. We did sign a couple of MOUs, and of course, defense partnership is something that we've continued with Russia, even though we've looked at diversifying to different geographies now, the European Union as well, and besides the United States of America. But of course, this is a massive engagement that HAL is doing with Russia to lease aircraft from Russia to Indian operators. In fact, many experts, many aviation experts whom we've spoken to, they see this as a game changer for short-haul routes, with India projected to need over 200 such regional jets in the next decade. But will HAL be able to deliver on the promises that it made? Well, we'll have to discuss that and more with our guest who's joining us now. In fact, joining us now is Mr. Satish Moore. He's an aviation expert. Thank you very much, Satish, for taking the time out and speaking to us here on ET Now. Give us your first thoughts on SJ-100, which is a big foray by HAL. How do you see this diversification by HAL into the commuter aircraft space, and what really changes with this diversification by HAL?
When we look at HAL, mostly 95% of its production is military equipment and hardware. And hardly 5% of this is for civilian aircraft. They already have some manufacturing for Dornier 19. They are making that Dornier 19 since 1992, and which is being used for military personal transportation. And now they are also planning to make that into H-228 aircraft for civilian purposes for 19-seater aircraft. So going into SJ-100, this will be a really game changer, because there is a big demand for regional aircraft in the country. And this aircraft is nearly 70 to 100-seater based on the configuration and the leg space you provide. So this is going to fill the big gap in the Indian civil aviation market, I believe.
Mr. Satish Moore, experts frequently say that, manufacturing, local manufacturing can possibly fundamentally shift the Indian aviation space. And we saw, the announcements of a lot of new airlines, regional airlines, also towards the end of 2025. So beyond, financial savings, because India also imports quite a few, almost most of its aircrafts from other countries. Beyond basic financial savings, what specific, game changer can, this move and HAL's expansion plans in civil aviation bring to the country? How game changing is it?
It will take 3 to 4 years for HAL to set up the manufacturing facility in their Nasik and Kanpur campuses. So what they are doing is they are going to take 10 to 20 planes on lease, and they are already in touch with certain customers to provide them for flying them on commercial purposes, so that already the plane will be tested in the Indian environment. And once those 10 to 20 planes will be flying in the aviation market, and people will realize that how profitable it is to use our own plane, and by 3 to 4 years time they will be manufacturing a good number of them. So I believe that in 5 to 10 years, we will have nearly more than 80 to 100 aircraft being manufactured. And if we look at again, if I go back to H-228 plane, that plane in India, 19-seater cost only 50 crore rupees. And this SJ-100 will also not be costing more than 200 to 250 crore. So when we look at this kind of cost requirement for airlines, they will have a very good margin and they can offer for this UDAN scheme, which the government had come out in their civil aviation policy. They will have a very good margin and they can offer seats at a low cost to the passengers. So this is going to be a very big game changer. Alongside that, we also know that Adani has signed a contract for manufacturing with Embraer of Brazil. So there will be two manufacturers in the country and there will be a good space to grow for more such people. And once we are manufacturing more than 100 aircraft every year, we will be meeting the demand. Because if you look at Boeing's projection, which came about recently, that by in next 20 years, India is going to need more than 3,000 aircraft. So we have to create this facility in the country to provide a cheaper mode of traveling for our passengers.
Absolutely, Mr. Moore. And these modes of flying, of course, these aircraft, they have to keep the safety parameters intact as well. In fact, on the show, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by Surjit Panisar. He's an aviation expert. But before we go on to Mr. Panisar, let's take a look at this ground report that's been filed by my colleague, Samir Dikshit. He is, of course, attending South Asia's largest civil aviation event in Hyderabad. Let's toss it over to Samir. And gentlemen, we'll come to you after taking a look at this report.
Wings 2026 started in Hyderabad, and one of the big highlights of Wings show is the made in India aircraft SJ-100. Now this aircraft is soon going to be a reality. The first aircraft SJ-100, the commercial passenger aircraft, has made the debut at Wings 2026, but this is going to be developed, manufactured here in India by HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, and this is going to be the aircraft that will help HAL to enter into the civil sector as well. As of now, HAL has got a very strong presence in the defense sector, but going forward, now this is going to be the aircraft that will help HAL to have a strong presence in the civil sector as well. Now, when I say SJ-100 is going to be one big highlight, let me tell you that this is the aircraft which is jointly being developed by Russia. Russian company UAC is providing the engine, and Maharatna CPSE HAL is going to develop. Now, the timeline that HAL is looking at is that in next 2.5 to 3 years, they will provide first such aircraft. Now, let me show you that how it is going to look like from inside. And as I enter, let me show you that the first look of SJ-100. You see such a beautiful aircraft with a sitting capacity of 75 to 100 passengers. Now, this is an aircraft which has got a sitting capacity of 75 to 100 passengers with a flying range of 3,000 to 3,500 kilometers. And also, if you see in terms of a time, so this can fly to 5 to 6 hours. And this is going to be an ideal aircraft for non-metro cities that HAL is looking at. If you see a combination of 3 and 2, so 3 seats and the 2 seats, so basically 5 in a row. And for the luggage section, the luggage can be placed over here very easily, very conveniently. And this is the aircraft which can be very ideal for travel like Mumbai, Goa, Mumbai, Bhopal, or even Delhi, Bhopal. So these sort of distance can be easily covered with this aircraft, and that will be one of the fit aircraft for UDAN scheme as well. Now, this aircraft is going to be developed and manufactured in India very soon. Going forward, HAL has already signed the agreement with the Russian firm, and this aircraft is also going to be one of the answer to the Western lobby or the companies of the West world, that how India can now withstand on their own legs in the aviation space as well.
That was my colleague Samir, giving us a walkthrough into, the new aircraft that we will see, flying flying commercially very, very soon. But, over to you, Mr. Surjit Panesar, and thank you so much for patiently waiting for my colleague to give in a ground report and a walkthrough. But I need to understand, HAL is targeting 25% of revenue from its civil aviation within just a decade's time span by pivoting into regional jet manufacturing and MRO. So give us an understanding, how realistic is this target, and what possible bottlenecks could it encounter, also given that competition with, your other panelists also mentioned how Adani is also getting into this space. So also given that, competition is coming up in civil aviation as well for manufacturing.
Ma'am, let us not underestimate the capability of HAL experts. They have been manufacturing fighter aircraft. They are capable of manufacturing even civil aircraft. Only thing is the government has to have confidence in HAL expertise. They have very good expertise people to manufacture the civil aircraft also. Let's not underestimate their capabilities. But it is up to the government to give contract to HAL for manufacturing or not. We have no role in that. HAL is quite capable of manufacturing the civil aircraft and even fighter aircraft they've been manufacturing in India itself. I have to say this only.
Mr. Panesar, but let me ask you a follow-up question. Yes, Mr. Panesar, let me ask you a follow-up question essentially on HAL and whether it can balance its dominant defense focus with the very different economics of civil aviation, because these are very two different industries and are very different in the way that they function.
You see, the question is, it is a government decision to permit certain aircraft to manufacture by HAL or not. We have no choice in that. If the government has decided, I can assure you, the capability of HAL, they have very, very good experts, experienced people to manufacture the fighter aircraft, civil aircraft, and it will be nice to give contract to them as a good organization to manufacture aircraft. They have capable people to plan the manufacturing of this aircraft.
Take this question across to Mr. Mode in a different way. HAL, which is a defense-first entity, how can it adapt to, its entire internal processes, probably, if I may ask you, to, these complete quality control measures to meet the stringent, commercially driven demands of the civil aviation in the country? If you can help us understand that.
No, your question is very important. But what I would say is that whether it is a civilian use or military use, this is the end use of the equipment. So the SJ-100, which is being used for military purposes and transporting military personnel, it is only the interior. If you make it very good and you get DGCA certification, then another thing is the glass cockpit. So when you design the plane with the passenger in mind, and there is no harm, I don't see there is any constraint which will come in the way of HAL to producing it. Basically, the assembly line is same. The aviation, the aircraft body is similar. The engine, yes, HAL, I would say, is also going in for Safran engines, which can also be used in some of the aircraft which they are developing. What we need is a market available for civilian plane. Because earlier also when HAL was trying to go into civilian plane, if Air India or Indian Airlines would have given them firm orders, they would have gone into it, because this is an expensive affair to manufacture civilian airplane. So I believe that Alliance Air has already given firm orders for H-228 plane, that Dornier 19-seating capacity plane. Similarly, I think some of the new airlines will definitely go in for that. And once they start building the advance orders, that's why they are going to test the market by leasing out 10 to 20 planes manufactured in Russia. And one sample which you already seen with this kind of thing, if Indian airlines start ordering these planes and the order line build up, HAL has the capacity to increase the assembly lines and meet the need of the civil aviation sector. I have no doubt that HAL has the capacity and technique and technology and personnel to build this civil aviation aircraft.
Absolutely, Mr. Mode, and we are, of course, discussing that and HAL's ability, the fact that it says that it is going to deliver these aircraft over the next 2 to 3 years, and we'll be waiting and watching out for that story to unfold. But what are the key risks that you foresee? Of course, we've heard the Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu also suggest that there should be a presence of more and more players into the aviation ecosystem, from the point of view of providing more diversity and more options rather to consumers, to flyers, and secondly to also ensure that ticket and of course pricing is taken care of. But what are the key risks that you foresee?
Boeing and Airbus are already flooded
Mr.
with
Moore,
so many aircraft orders. Yeah. Can I respond to this?
Sir. Please do, sir.
Yeah, so what I am saying is Boeing and Airbus, they already are, having so many pending orders. So to meet India's demand, we have to start manufacturing and we have to build capacity. Only thing, government has to come out with performance-linked schemes which they have come out for other sectors like textile and steel and other sectors. They have to come out for airlines. They have to come out with some schemes where if they order Indian assembled and Indian manufactured planes, they will get some concessions and they will get some subsidy. Once the market stabilizes in next 8 to 10 years, the government can remove the subsidy. But the government with their aviation policy, which they came out some 7 to 8 years back, if they want to make this UDAN scheme successful, and as our Prime Minister said that people with chappal can fly the plane, if you really want to meet that dream, we have to provide these incentive schemes to airlines to order these Indian manufactured planes. I think that is the key policy decisions government has to take.
Mr. Panesar, over to you. Just today, Indigo CEO made an announcement to increase its fleet, with HAL coming into the civil aviation. How is it going to shake up the space in the country? If you can help us understand, considering that Peter Elbers, who's the Indigo CEO, said that they are going to receive 1 aircraft each week, going forward, and have 10 million passengers under the loyalty program. So they have already, orders from Airbus. But now, since we are making planes domestically, how is it going to shake up the aviation space going forward? If you can help us understand that.
See, first of all, the Indigo must understand that we have capability of looking after and manufacturing aircraft also. They have to trust our engineers. Do not measure. They are capable people to do everything. Let them order any number of aircraft. Give it a contract to HAL. They will take care of the aircraft, the maintenance and every problem. Let's not doubt their integrity of experience. It's a good decision to trust the HAL for maintenance of the aircraft engineering department.
Absolutely, sir. And we value your inputs. Thank you very much, Mr. Panesar and Mr. Mode, for taking the time out and speaking to us here on ET Now. Definitely, it's going to take HAL 3 to 4 years to deliver on its promises. And of course, this is a big move given the fact that HAL is now looking at venturing into the commercial aviation space, the commuter aviation space. We did hear from Adani, which has gotten into contract manufacturing with Embraer. Boeing has already projected that over the next 20 years, India will need more than 3,000 aircraft. And ladies and gentlemen, you were just talking about what Peter Elbers, CEO of Indigo, had to say about expansion plans of the aircraft company, of the aviation company. So all eyes are on India's aviation sector, and more importantly on what the budget is going to unfold, what the budget will have, given the fact that Indian ministers have of course stated their intent. The government has stated its intent in the past that it wants to put the focus, put the spotlight on India's aviation segment. But ladies and gentlemen, for the time being, it's now time for us to sip into a short commercial break. But After the break, we have a special chat, a special debate on the economic survey, which is coming up tomorrow. We have a special segment on that, so you do stay tuned to India Tonight on ET.